Good afternoon. So I found out that Canada celebrates Thanksgiving on Monday. And one of my macro mamas said that she was trying to find some macro-friendly things that are very Thanksgiving. Canada does Thanksgiving apparently the same way the U.S. does. So I figured I would go ahead and share my pumpkin protein. Oh, did you like it? It's a really good one, isn't it? Did you use the chocolate chips too? So this recipe is a crustless cheesecake, which of course some cheesecakes just have no crust. So what I end up actually using is a metal cake pan instead of using like a glass a glass pie pan, just because I like the edge gets a little crustier in metal than it does in glass. All my recipes are on my Instagram page. Anytime that I post a picture, I also am about to come out with my second ebook. My first one was all protein pancakes, and then the second one's going to be pretty much just macro-friendly breakfast ideas. And then I'm still working on getting some more lunch and dinner stuff together. So yes, right now my recipes, you can also see things on Twitter. Oh, she did. She sure did. She made the pumpkin cheesecake, and it's funny. My mom actually mentioned getting together for lunch tomorrow, and so I told her, "Why don't I bring this?" Which, of course, my mom's not macro follower at all, but she's, "Oh, you can bring cheesecake." Yes, I can, and it's gonna be good. And there's like no fat in it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do. Ooh, excuse me. I know, and you want to try to get your protein, how much I eat in one day. I usually only breakfast, maybe a dessert, comes from actually protein powder. The rest of my protein, which I eat about 145 grams, comes from whole foods, from lean meats and cheeses and yogurt and stuff like that. You can eat as much protein powder, I guess, as you want to. You might have some digestive issues, but I guess as long as you're getting enough fiber in, you should be okay. I know some people just have to figure out, they just got to have a shake a day, or they got to make sure they have some scoop of protein powder to really fit enough protein in their day, and that's totally all right to do that. I probably wouldn't make a big habit of it. That could definitely be an issue. The PE Science Snickerdoodle is super cinnamony. That's the protein powder that I'm going to use today. I would probably add at least a tablespoon of cinnamon because I use the PE Science plus another teaspoon of cinnamon anyway in the recipe. So either that, or you could add maybe another half a teaspoon of the pumpkin pie spice, which we're going to use in that too. That's a pretty potent pumpkin-y type flavor. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to put parchment paper in the bottom. Oh, that's not good. Who wants to taste nothing but non-fat yogurt? Line the bottom of it in parchment, and then you're going to want to spray that with spray oil. It makes lifting the cheesecake out once it's cooked so much easier. I actually do that with any cake. Yeah, exactly. How gross would that be? I'll just eat yogurt, thank you. I do this with any cake that I ever make. Well, you never have it sticking to the bottom of your pan, because for some reason that seems to be the one area that you never can lift your cake off of. Stick parchment paper on there and you flip it over, it just pops right out. Of course, cheesecake, you won't flip over like that. I think the thing that I like the most about this recipe is that it's basically like kind of a pumpkin dump cheesecake. You literally just dump everything in, you mix it up, pour it in the pan, and it's ready to go. There's, of course, a lot of it too, like when we use the cream cheese, we're just using 2 of these containers full, which makes it super easy. It's 16 ounces. Each one of these is 8. Just dump it in. Same thing with can of pumpkin. It's a whole can of pumpkin. There's a lot. They are. I think it's because my kids are home. Like I said, kids go crazy, birds go crazy, husband's out in the garage, he'll be going crazy as soon as college football gets turned on. So the first thing is 16 ounces of fat-free Philadelphia cream cheese. The only other cream cheese the fat-free that I like is Lucerne. Yes, go Irish! They didn't do so well. They didn't do so well last weekend. I I haven't tried any of the other brands, but the Lucerne brand, which is carried by Tom Thumb Safeway, is actually another good fat-free one. But sometimes with fat-free stuff, I feel like it's better to stick with a name brand instead of the more generic ones. Flavor, I don't know if it's the way they process it. Obviously, we know Philadelphia makes lots of cream cheese, so they seem to do a pretty good job on the fat-free. So we're going to do 2 of these. I bet, you know, it's funny that you say that. I was telling my daughter, my mom is from Wisconsin, and when she was growing up, it was not legal to sell margarine in the state of Wisconsin. You know, they're butter and cheese. And so she told me they used to have to drive to Illinois, to the border. I'm like, you guys sound like drug addicts. So they'd have to go to another state to get margarine. So yes, I can see why. If you're in Philly, that's the only cream cheese you should be eating. Same thing with your cheesesteaks. All right, so we've got 2 8-ounce containers of cream cheese, an entire can of pumpkin, 15 ounces. Yes, 15 ounces of puree, of course, not the pumpkin pie that's loaded with sugar. Obviously, you guys can tell I wear hats on the weekend. We just got a new Jeep, so it's still 90 degrees here in Dallas, so we take the top off on the weekend. The biggest thing with this cheesecake is patience. It takes a long time to bake. Super easy to get all your ingredients together. I do. There's a picture of a slice of pumpkin cheesecake on there. I can also go ahead and repost it so it comes back up to the top of my pictures. I know sometimes it's kind of hard to scroll through all those. So we've got the cream cheese. And there's my children. Oh, that's my kids. And the dog, yes. It's a madhouse around here. You're welcome. I use, again, this is something I had talked to you guys about a couple days ago. I'm using Splenda as my extra sweetener. I use 3 packets of it. You can use stevia if you want to. I don't suggest liquid stevia. Certain recipes, it'll cause a gumminess, and you want this to really have a good firm cheesecake type of a texture to it, so I wouldn't suggest using a liquid stevia. So anything you use, I would suggest a powdered form. So I use 3 packets of Splenda. Again, no measuring. All right, and then I use, sweet leaf would be fine. You can also use like Truvia if you wanted to do one of those. That's the stevia sugar blend if you like more of a true natural sugar flavor. I think between the sweetness of the protein powder in this one, and you know, cheesecake's not super sweet anyway, so I think between the protein and then just a couple of packets of a sweetener, you'll get just enough sweetness to kind of take the twang of the yogurt and cream cheese off a little bit, I guess. So I use 2 different yogurts when I do this one. One will be a vanilla flavored. Today I'm using the Yoplait Greek 100 vanilla. I also love Dannon's. I prefer Greek because they're a little thicker. So again, that's based on wanting to keep that cheesecake consistency. So I use 1 container of this, which is 150 grams. You know what's crazy about these? I have a girlfriend who was a Weight Watchers girl, and sometimes she would just weigh these. I don't weigh my dry spices. I just do them by teaspoon, tablespoon. I've done the macros on those, also on extracts and vanilla and stuff like that, and it literally is like 6 calories for a tablespoon. Well, if I'm using a tablespoon in something that's for 8 or 10 people, I mean, what is that that's a half a calorie or something. So yeah, my extracts and my spices I don't weigh. I just measure them old school. But yeah, so she was telling me she decided to weigh one of these one day just for grins, and took the yogurt out, put it in a separate bowl, and it was short by like almost 50 grams. So I thought that was kind of interesting that, you know, I thought because they do all this stuff by weight that the measurement on there would be pretty accurate, but Yoplait probably needs to start adding a little bit more yogurt. So the other yogurt I will use is Fage. It's the fat-free Fage. this one is super thick. I mean, and that's why I love it, especially for cheesecake. The 2% also is a really good one to use. Again, there's not enough fat in the yogurt that it's going to really change your fat macros on the recipe. So if you want to add a little bit fat into it to add, I guess, a little bit more creaminess, go for it. So again, this one we're also going to do 150 grams. I didn't buy the small singles, which you can, but I have the big ones, so we'll go ahead and use that. So it's 150 grams of the vanilla and 150 grams of no flavored Fage. And my scale says it's too heavy. There we go. Two eggs. And my dogs come running because they normally get my yolks, because almost everything I make in the morning is egg white only, so they all are around my feet now. And then we'll go ahead and add in our extract, and I don't weigh these. If I buy liquid egg whites, I weigh those. But no, I don't. I mean, I go off of, so when I buy the same size eggs, which I know obviously every chicken's going to be a little bit different. So I just go off of what a standard large egg is, which is 70 calories. That's the one thing I think with flexible dieting that I know you have to be careful with. They call it the BLT, which is the bite, lick, taste. And I haven't done the protein powder yet. You know, every calorie counts basically. So if you find yourself over there taking a bite of one of your kids' cookies and then a bite of their sandwich and you ate 2 chips off their plate, that all those calories can start to add up. In the same respect though, things like the difference between a medium egg and a large egg, or if I buy large, and as long as I track a large egg, if we're going to talk about the grams between the two of them, that stresses me out. So I figured, you know what, if I'm getting an extra 2 to 3 calories off of this egg today, and then tomorrow I had a smaller chicken and a smaller egg, I'm good. I feel like it's kind of all even out. I think we can literally take this and probably beat the numbers to death if we're not careful. And it's flexible dieting. Food is supposed to be fun. And I like to eat and I like to cook and I like to measure stuff. But at some point we have to say, at least I think we have to say enough is enough and just kind of go with it. So we're going to go with 62 grams, which is 2 scoops, 2 servings of the snickerdoodle. And Dymatize makes a cinnamon bun fantastic also. So that's another option if you wanted cinnamon. And you can't find this one. That's right. Trust the process. The results will come. They are slow and steady, but they are steady. So that's another option. Also, if you don't have cinnamon protein powder, like I had said, you can use vanilla. That would probably be the only one that I would do. And then just add in more cinnamon and more pumpkin spice. Fortunately, because you only have 2 raw eggs, I don't know, I mean, some people think it's gross, but you can always kind of taste it before you bake it, just to see, does it have this flavor that I want? Aw, thank you. So we're going to go with 62 grams. My scale says it's so heavy. There we go. In something like this Dymatized wood, I do not like it with pancakes at all. It doesn't rise the way that I want it to. This is not, obviously cheesecake is not something that rises. Yeah, it's so the issue with it is it's hydrolyzed whey. They process it differently than they do than other whey proteins. And so what ends up happening is, I don't know what the process is, but somehow it breaks down. They say that it makes it easier to digest. So it's probably really good for people who have like lactose issues and stuff. Thank you. Might have to block somebody here soon. So yeah, Dymatize, the flavor was really good, but I didn't think that it's, it baked super, or at least made pancakes very well. Did she like it? Yes, I would suggest, okay, now that's the other thing with this one. This is a whey casein blend. The difference between the two is that casein is a slower digesting protein. The benefit to that is that it's going to hold you a lot longer. The downside, not very good in shakes. It's super thick. So it becomes more of a pudding consistency, which if you get this one or one of the other flavors of theirs, oh yes, the pumpkin blondies are so good. You can literally take a scoop of this with either some water or a little bit of almond milk and get it into a pudding consistency, stick it in the freezer for 20-30 minutes, and it almost gets like soft serve ice cream. Add some fat-free Cool Whip on top of that. Fantastic. Okay, so now I'm going to add in my extracts and my spices. There we go. Yes, graham cracker. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know. It's like, bye. I don't need a boyfriend. We got plenty of issues. Okay, so we're going to go with a teaspoon. I'm going to start actually with my dry. It's not a Saturday, so we have a creeper, right? A teaspoon of baking powder. I know. Well, you know, bye, Felicia. I think about that and I'm like, what did you get from that? Did that make you feel good? I guess maybe they get off and they laugh and they think it's funny. So, teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and teaspoon of vanilla. Oh, let's do our cinnamon first. I like to use all my dry ingredients in there first. And then teaspoon of vanilla. So literally after you get all your stuff in there, you're just going to blend it until it's smooth. You want to make sure that your cream cheese is at least room temperature. The one thing I've noticed about the fat-free is it doesn't get as creamy at room temperature as like the more fattening ones do. And you could use light cream cheese if you wanted to. So it takes a little bit extra time of just kind of letting it blend and mixing it in really good. Not the end of the world if it's not completely blended, because you just end up seeing like little bitty kind of white dots in your cheesecake amidst the orange. Still tastes fantastic. I have not, like, is it like solid cream cheese? Because we have a container that's cream cheese yogurt mixed. It's like a whipped, and it's fantastic, which you could actually use in this too. It'd probably be really good. But I have not, I don't know if that's what you're talking about, is the whipped Greek yogurt cream cheese blend. That's my dogs. Gotta love me some Poppy. So I guess one of the downsides, I guess if you wanted to say that, this one would be easy because you could put, I have a stand-up mixer also, but because I'm weighing everything on my scale with you guys, it's easier for me to do it with the hand mixer. But this is a perfect recipe if you have a stand-up to just literally dump it in, turn it on, let it whip. There's no flour in it, so if it goes a little longer than you don't have as much time, no big deal. Yes, the whipped, that one I use in one of my wraps, and I'll put the whipped Greek yogurt on the wrap and then add like a sugar-free peach jelly to it, and then pastrami and strawberries and spinach. Oh my gosh, fantastic. So the thing with this one, like I was saying, is going to be patience. I don't know if you guys, make sure you guys can hear me over my mixer. Is patience with the baking part of it. It's something that you cannot make in the morning for an afternoon. It's really best if it sits overnight after it bakes to really get everything to blend nicely. So you're going to bake it at 325 for 30 minutes. Then you're going to reduce the heat, leave it in the oven, reduce the heat to 220, and it's going to bake for another 55 to 60 minutes. You're going to want to make sure that you watch it, probably starting at about 50, because the edges can get pretty crusty if it overcooks too long. And you really want the center to be pretty soft so that as it cools and it starts to solidify, you get that really good cream cheesecake type texture. So once it comes out of the oven, then what I end up doing with it is I just literally wrap the pan, the top of it in foil, and stick it in the fridge overnight. But I like this recipe too because I will end up sprinkling graham cracker crumbs on the top of it, 7-8 grams of graham cracker, so I still get that flavor of a crust, and then I'm not getting the calories of that crust. All right, so here's our consistency. Thick, nice and creamy. As you can see, if I push it up, I don't know if you can see that there's it's got almost little like white balls that are in there. It's not, that's the thing is, honestly, pumpkin doesn't have a super distinct flavor. You know what? I just realized, speaking of, that I left that one out. There's a half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. That would not have been good. You start at 325, 325 for 30 minutes, and then you're going to reduce, the heat to 220 after that, and let it slow bake. So yeah, honestly, pumpkin in and of itself doesn't have a super distinct flavor. I mean, if you notice, you can cook pumpkin. I'll cube it. I bake with electric. We had the option when we bought the house, but there was already an electric oven in here, so that's just what I ended up with. And I do know that they do bake differently. Our last house had a convection oven in it. Loved it. Yeah, so really with pumpkin, you can almost flavor it in any way because it's squash. I mean, so it doesn't... Oh, that'll be fantastic. Yes, gas cooks differently. I mean, it really does. And it takes some getting used to. I know that my mom, who was not a very good cook to begin with, we had gas in one of our houses, and let's just say that we ate at McDonald's a lot for some reason. All right, so somebody had asked that earlier. As far as processed proteins, you're going to want to make sure that you are really getting enough whole protein sources in your diet. I don't think that there's a limit. I mean, I guess when every scoop of protein is going to have between 20 and 25 grams of protein, I don't think that I don't know who would want to do that in excess anyway. I mean, I would much rather eat a steak or a piece of chicken, but my thing would be really making sure, if you were doing a lot of processed protein, that you're getting your fiber in, because you're going to end up, your stomach's going to end up hurting. Also, with a lot of processed proteins, you're going to have a lot of alternative sweeteners, and those can also cause bloat and discomfort and everything else. So that's more why I would limit processed protein than that. And I just can only drink so many shakes or eat so many pancakes, eat so many things with processed protein in them. So this is going to fill the pan up pretty high, which is fine. Like I told you guys, it's not going to rise a whole lot. And also it will settle once it comes back out of the oven. So this is an 8-inch round cake pan. You can use a pie plate, no big deal. But I just spread it out so that it's even. And stick this guy in the oven, like I said, 325 for 30 minutes, then reduce the heat to 220, cook it another 55, and then make sure that it cools completely and has a good chance for that center. the toothpick inserted is not really going to work on knowing doneness, just so you guys know. I would just trust your oven. I do have birds. I have two of them. They're parakeets. One is Snow White, and her name is Blanca, and the other one is the traditional green and yellow, and his name is Chico. And they very much love each other and talk to each other and clean each other. So it's kind of fun having them. You're having a hard time getting in 20 grams at each one of them. I mean, one piece of chicken, about 4 ounces of chicken, should have at least 23 grams of protein in it. But again, a shake in the morning with the rest of your food is fine. Yogurt, one container of yogurt has like 12 or 14, depending on the Greek yogurt that you get. Oh yeah, I don't think that there's an amount of weight that you can't benefit from counting macros. And then once you actually, can you imagine? I think as far as anytime that you want to consider trying a new way of eating, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to log your food for a couple of days. And the main reason for that, no, Austin, my son came down, is you need to see what you're eating every day right now. And then that's going to be your best determination of where you go from there. Anybody that comes to me and asks me to calculate their macros, if they have not been logging for at least a week, that's the first thing that I tell them is that's going to give me the best idea of where to start you. Because if you, for instance, log your food, you've never done it before, you log and you find out that you're currently eating 1,500 calories a day. But when I just do some random calculation, it says you should be eating 1,800. If I start you on a macro plan at 1,800, you're going to gain weight. Even though that's what you're supposed to be eating according to a calculation based on just your height and your body weight, you're not eating that. So we have to, it's a lot easier for me when I work with people to make sure that they understand how to log food. It's going to make you more successful. And then you just literally go off of wherever you are. And then, so if you have 100 pounds to lose, you might lose weight really fast just because you have a lot of weight to lose. You still might lose it just as slow and steady as somebody who has 10. I believe that it is, in my opinion, it's the best way to sustain weight loss for a long period of time and to be able to literally continue to enjoy food while you're losing weight or while you're gaining muscle. So that's you should, okay, so exercise is created to build muscle and build strength. It is definitely a phenomenal addition to counting your macros. It's going to make you stronger. If your diet is not where it should be, there is no amount of working out that is going to make you lose anything. You don't have to track your exercise unless you have a goal. I mean, I think having a goal is extremely important. You're welcome. So if your goal is, I want to lean out or I want to look more muscular, you have a physique maybe in mind, you're going to want to start to track your workouts because you're going to kind of want to know where you are. But if you're able to say, you know what, I'm fitting in some kind of a workout 2 days a week, 3 days a week, whether it's cardio or anything else like that, then more power to you. I mean, again, this you have one life, and I think that it should be a lot of fun, and I think that you should enjoy what you eat, and I think that you should enjoy the way that you work out. And when things start to become a chore, you try to figure out ways to cheat and ways to end it. So I don't think that over obsessing about working out is a good idea if that's not your thing, any more than I think that you should be restricted to certain foods. So as far as macros are concerned, if that's something, no, you do not. If you exercise, did you have your numbers figured? If you've had your numbers figured, I don't add any more in based on someone working out. I might create their plan with a little bit higher. If they tell me that they don't work out often, I usually will create their plan with a little more high of a fat as opposed to the carbs, because your body needs the carbs for working out. But no, I know things like there are calculators and stuff like in MyFitnessPal that if you go in and you put in that you jogged for 30 minutes, it automatically gives you 300 more calories to eat for the day. Don't do that. If you have a set number that you're working on, yay, then that's what you need to stick with. And I usually start most of my people out eating the same macros on workout day and on rest day. And then if they get to a place where they say, oh, I can't figure out, I'm stuck, can't lose these 3 pounds, 5 pounds, whatever that is, then you can kind of figure the numbers a little bit better. My website is poppylocks.com. I own a cake business. I've made cakes for over 12 years, so that's actually a lot of what's on there. But there's a drop-down menu that says ordering and pricing info, I believe. And if you click on that, you'll see macro calculations there. You can submit the form. I'll send you a couple questions. I need to find out a little bit more about you. There's also a payment link that's on there too, if that's something that you're interested in. If you just have questions about it, you can submit the online form and I can answer a couple questions for you if you're not sure if that's something that you're ready to commit to. That's right. It's $30. I believe it's the best $30 that somebody can spend, because like I've told you guys, this is the one thing that I have felt has been that I've been consistently successful at for several years and continue to see. Yes. So that's one of the things. If you are a member if I have calculated your macros for you, then you also get to join our online Facebook group. That is a women's only Facebook group, and it's a place that we share stories. And no, your age has nothing to do with the way that we calculate macros. It's based on how you're eating now, and then the goal that you have from that point forward. So yeah, we have an online Facebook group. It's a lot of fun. We share success stories and things that we struggle with, and progress pictures. If that's something that you say, hey, I've been doing this squats and I'm not sure if my form is right. You can upload your video to it, and I can let you know if your form and stuff looks right, or if you're saying, hey, I'm trying to find a new ab exercise or new shoulder workout or something like that. Again, it's going to depend on your goal as far as how many times a week. If you want to work out 4 to 5, I actually lift 5 days a week. I like to hit legs twice, but my legs are my strong point, and that's the part of my body that I enjoy working out. So that's also where I lift the heaviest. So I like to do that at least. Yeah, I know, right? You see that? I should just move out of the way because they're both standing behind me. There's my son too. You see that? Yes. They finally came in here because they had to ask questions. No, my group. Yes. You need something?
Do something too.
Sure. The online Facebook group is a private group that is for the women that I have calculated macros for only, and it's not because I expect that people should be spending their money, but I feel like that's kind of an added bonus to people who have committed to following macros and living a macro-based diet lifestyle. So I feel like that's something that's kind of an added bonus to having me figure out your macros, is me being able to help you guys in any way possible to achieve your goals. I know. They keep looking over here at the cheesecake like, why aren't you putting that in the oven yet? They know it's for tomorrow though. So yeah, they were actually asking if they could play the Wii. They figure out pretty quick if I'm on the phone or if I'm working on my laptop or if I'm doing something like this. That's the best time to ask for snacks, and that's the best time to ask for the television. So that was kind of what they were figuring out. They could creep around me till I finally said, sure, go do whatever you're going to do. Just leave me alone. Anybody that has kids will definitely understand that seems to be. I remember doing the same thing to my mom. I'd wait till she got on the phone. BPI, I like their chocolate cookie. I also like their chocolate brownie. And then I use their vanilla caramel. They sent me, I use either one of them. I haven't seen a difference in the way that either one of them bakes. BPI sent me a ton of their proteins to try out to put into my recipes. The flavor of all of them was pretty consistent. It was good. Banana was good. Cookies and cream was good. I didn't notice a big difference between, and most of us won't. We're not huge bodybuilders. We're not weightlifters. And so these little differences between whether you have whey protein isolate, unless you have like you're lactose intolerant, you're not going to see a huge difference in gains or in weight loss. Don't ever think that, because I'm eating such and such protein powder, that's the reason that I'm having some sort of an issue. It's not. So find the ones that you like. I don't prefer protein powders that are at the grocery store. I haven't found one that I really like the flavor of. So it's not that I'm, a protein powder snob or anything else like that. I try to find the ones that actually taste the most natural. If I'm going to make a strawberry cheesecake, I really want it to taste like strawberry. I don't want it to taste like chemicals, but I want it to be high in protein. So I found, the protein powder packets that are the singles. Hey, some of us just got to get it where we can get it, right? I mean, that's okay. That's another thing too, though. If you find a protein powder, if you're limited, either you live somewhere where you can't, there's not a Vitamin Shop or a GNC, you're not going to order it online. You have a chocolate one, you want to kind of make it taste better. Add 4 grams of sugar-free Jell-O pudding powder to your shake powder when you get ready to make something. Or add, 5 grams of cocoa powder to your chocolate, stuff like that. There's other ways, if you have a vanilla that's just kind of meh, well then add a teaspoon of vanilla extract to it when you're making something else. And that will actually end up kind of enhancing the flavor and making it taste a little bit more natural by adding, like I said, extracts, pudding mixes, that kind of stuff. And you won't end up affecting your macros a whole lot by doing that. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. If you are in Canada, have a happy Thanksgiving. And I'm going to try to come up with, probably here in the next week or so, I'm going to try to really create a macro-friendly Thanksgiving dinner. Probably do some, like the cauliflower mashed potatoes, and of course turkey is going to be macro-friendly. Something, a macro-friendly pumpkin pie too, so that it's not just pumpkin cheesecake if other people want more variety. Different ways, of course, to have that really good Thanksgiving foods that you guys know and love, and making them to where they're completely guilt-free, because like we said, you should always be able to have, right? You should always be able to have fun with your food. And food is fuel, and food should taste really good, and you should never feel bad. Oh yes, stuffing. Good one. I'm actually going to write that one down, because that one is something that is always so good. And I need to look at, I think Thanksgiving is like a crazy carb holiday. It's like we have Halloween with all this candy, and then you turn around and it's carb heaven for like 2 months. And that's something else that I'll probably do a Periscope on here, somewhere closer to the holidays, about keeping your macros in check during the holidays, ending up in January weighing the same thing that you did and being happy, because Lord knows that as it gets cooler outside, we can live in leggings, but we all prefer to wear skinny jeans every now and then too. Food is, oh yes, I love food. That was why I had to figure this thing out. So yes, carrot souffle. I don't even know, I don't think I've ever made anything like that. Look at that. That actually sounds really good. I'm going to have to figure that one out too. So that's why I ask you guys. Oh, I'm guessing it's kind of is it sweet? Because it's got the carrot in there. Would you be able to replace it maybe with like a squash or something, or like sweet potato, maybe to get the carbs down a little bit, because carrots are pretty high carb. I'll have to look into that one. See how many carrots are actually used. Yes. Well, there you go. Yes, we'll definitely have to figure that one out then. So I've got stuffing and carrot souffle that I'm definitely going to look into. And then if I come up with any other recipes, you guys will be the first ones to know. Hope you guys have a great Saturday. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.